Hello everyone, we are group 3 and we have 6 members in our group. Today we will talk about Taylor Addison Swift. In this topic, we have 4 parts. In first part, we will report the stories of Taylor Swift. So first, what is self-awareness about? Here's a concept. Self-awareness is the ability to recognize and understand our own thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. And we will explore how Taylor Swift's profound self-awareness evident in her music and public dialogue fuels her growth and influence, offering a powerful example of introspection and resilience. So, what is self-awareness in psychological perspective? Self-awareness is a precise recognition of one's emotions, needs, values, and behavioral patterns, including physiological attributes, social roles, and psychological traits. It embodies the ability to observe oneself from outside, fostering awareness of existential finitude while driving exploration toward psychological freedom. In dual internal-external dimensions, internal self-awareness is focusing on internal feelings and motivations. External self-awareness is understanding others' perspectives. There are 3 stories about quality 1. Story 1 is by watching VH1's Behind the Music, Taylor Swift realized that a lack of self-awareness led to the downfall of many bands, prompting her to incorporate this understanding into her life to maintain clarity and adapt her career and public interactions. Story 2 is through her music and interviews. Taylor Swift candidly shares her experiences with anxiety and body image issues, using these challenges to foster self-acceptance and encourage open discussions about mental health. Story 3 is Taylor Swift uses her autobiographical songs like Anti-Hero as a means of emotional expression and self-examination, skillfully turning personal experiences into universal emotions with empathy and insight. But what about her leadership? Communication ability is one of her leadership. Here is the definition. Communication ability is a skillful integration of verbal, written, and nonverbal signals to convey clear messages, adapt to diverse contexts, and achieve intended outcomes. It encompasses grammatical precision, active listening, empathy, and adaptability to ensure mutual understanding and effective information exchange. Here is an example. Taylor Swift's communication skills are reflected in her multi-dimensional strategic practices. In tool management, she puts customer first and upgrades business to an immersive social experience through 44 songs of super concept performances, TikTok-style interactive performances, 380 million fan creations viewed daily, and instant feedback from the surprise guitar theater.
Next, I will talk about self-management. It is about managing our own emotions. And I want to say something about Taylor Swift and her remarkable wisdom and toughness in self-management. This is my understanding of self-management. The official concept say that self-management refers to the process by which individuals manage themselves, including their goals, thoughts, psychology, and behaviors. Based on this, I think that Taylor did just that. And now, let's see 3 stories of her self-management ability. The first story is that Taylor turned complex emotions into creative power and finally healed herself. Take her son Min as an example. The fifth talks about her ability, which could respond to attacks with humor and confidence. And the last one uses the song and the lyrics to show her wisdom in managing her emotions through self-talk and reflection. Now, I want to talk about Taylor Swift's resilience's leadership. It is quite useful and important because when life changes pose risks to individuals, this self-protective instinct will be revealed. For example, Taylor Swift used this leadership to solve her album's problem. This move demonstrated her resilience and reflected her commitment to her own value and artistic independence. In conclusion, Taylor Swift's self-awareness is central to her journey, as she learns from others' mistakes, openly discusses mental health challenges, and uses her music for introspection. Also, we can see that Taylor has shown incredible wisdom and toughness in managing her emotions. She uses music not only to express and process her feelings, but also to heal and grow. Finally, I want to use one of her lyrics to end our part. But all that's dead and gone and past tonight, you will be all right. This is the true reflection of Taylor's personal competence.
Thanks for our group mates about introducing the stories and qualities of Taylor Swift. And we'll analyze the theories and models behind these qualities. This part is divided into two theories. One is about self-awareness and another one is self-management. And I'm responsible for the self-awareness one. As for the model one, it's Goleman's model. And Goleman splits our brain into two parts. One is thinking brain and another is emotional brain. And self-awareness acts like a bridge between them, helping us align our decisions with our values and purpose. For example, when you're upset, but you should pause to think before reacting. That's self-awareness in action. It's like an inner guide balancing logic and emotions. And model two is Jules and his colleagues' model. This model is it's a self-awareness causal loop, and which is comprised of 5 components: observation by self and others, feedback, pattern recognition, self-awareness, and learner action. Imagine messing up a project or assignment. You should reflecting on it and observe yourself and let others observe you and improving next time. That's the loop act work. It's a cycle of learning and growing of yourself. And when it comes to comparison, it includes both similarities and differences. Both of these two models agree self-awareness is key for our personal growth, but Goleman focuses more on internal balance and Jill's team emphasizes more on real-world practice. It's like Goleman's model is the theory and Jill's model is the handbook. So which one is better? I think it lies in Jill's model, because though the Goleman's model helps us understand ourselves deeply, but if you are looking for a practical toolkit and for this course, Jill's model fits the best. Because self-leadership isn't just about thinking, it's about doing. The loop turns reflection into action, and that's how real change happens. And no model is perfect. Each one has its limitation. Like Goleman's model may overlook the cultural differences between different cultural contexts, and they make account for cultural differences in those Eastern cultures. And Jill's model may requires a lot of self-discipline, which not everyone has, because, like he says, our self-recognition skills is a limited source. So if you cannot conduct the self-observation or pattern recognition, the self-awareness will get a failure.
Thanks for Gong Yuxuan's invitation, and I'm Yan Rongqian, and I'm here to talk about the second theory, or the self-management. The first one will be self-regulation theory, or the Albert's model. It emphasized the importance of individuals to regulate their behavior. It includes three parts: self-observation, self-evaluation, and self-reaction. And for our daily module, it will be set a goal, like I want to have a dinner tonight, and check the process with tests, like if I really do the process of having my dinner tonight, and make adjustment due to the result. And also, both self-regulation and self-determination are the bigger theory for illustrating self-management. And so the next part will be self-determination theory from Deci and Ryan's models. It emphasized the importance of intrinsic motivation and psychological needs, including autonomy, competency, and belonging, or self-management. And here is the theory structure. The self-motivation towards practice and the final way will be self-development. For me, it may be like I love playing football, so I will continuously practice it, and I might become a master in the future. So here comes the difference and the comment. Self-regulation theory always focuses on self-reflection and adjustment, and for the self-determination theory, it emphasizes self-will, or if you want to do something, you might become good at it, or you might become a master. For the common part, both of it will come from the start of a condition, like if I want to, like determination will focus on I want to do something, and self-regulation will focus on the I want to make adjustments, and they also have three parts to illustrate it. And which one is better? For the short term, self-determination is effective because it will make you to list your plans and will become efficiently to do something. From Cirillo in 2018, when preparing for an exam, and self-determination will be better than self-regulation. For sustainable development or long-term, self-regulation is better. From the Gordon in 2024, kids in 3 to 5 years old is crucial to use self-regulation since it might affect their future. For the limitation, self-determination can't always overcome these systematic challenges. For example, individuals can be limited by external factors, like discrimination, from Ms. Zhao in 2004. For the self-regulation part from Bumister in 1998, the foundational essay says that people are less likely to change their behavior in one area towards another area when using self-regulation in a specific area. Here comes my thinking. Though both of them are useful in long term or the short term, and for the short term it might be better for the self-determination, but as for the value of the shaping value, in other words, if you want to better in a long term or in your future, please your self-regulation more regularly.
The third part is analyzing the stories with models. The first story, Heather watched video records raising the subjective colors of words and analyzes inside feelings, then found that the problem in her music product, which is lack of self-awareness. The feedback we can include this kind of individuation, which leads her lack of weakness. And this pattern we recognize as need self-reflecting. And according to Daniel's research, this kind of individuation may not be identical in every respect to lack of self-awareness, indeed to a non-social way, which means the learner needs to focus on stages and cause of mood changes in society, especially in her society attitude. And for story 2, Taylor found herself having body shape and appearance agency by her emotions when facing mirror and the response from outside environment. And this feedback is detrimental to physical and mental health and personal development. So this pattern, we recognize that needs self-understanding. And the basic premise of the individuation theory is that self-awareness influences impulsive counter-normative behavior. So the learner needs to recognize and reject the unhealthy social deviation and accept herself and allow the self-consequences to redefine correctness rather than following the unreasonable but universal rules of society. And for story 3, Taylor, through the analysis of her own music work, Anti-Hero found that the lack of self-focused attention. So this pattern we recognize, which is need to self-focus and self-developing. And according to Geller and Shower's research, the self-focused attention includes a wide range of attitudes, attributions, and behavior. So the learner needs to do the correct attribution of behavior and objective and rational recitation of experience, and then accept the mistake and sum up the experience for better self-developing. And for story 4, we apply in Albert's model. In first part, self-observation, Taylor established the fact of being bullied and installed it according to the external words and behavior attitude. And after the self-evaluation, she chose the method modification of the environment. She escaped the vicious environment and turned grief and anger into creative motivation, write painful experience into words to increase empathy, so that produce the product mean, and this is positive reflect. As for story 5, after the self-observation, she finds the problem is emotionally depressing and ineffective. Then she applied in covert conditional theory. The emotions will continue to be affected by negative public opinions. So this situation is actually unconscious self-driving. And then the self-reaction let him make the action, which is stop acting herself, reflect objectively, and encourage herself to respond to distorted facts. As for the story 6, this problem is about creative bottleneck. And after self-evaluation, she used the scale of resource utilization according to Lorick and Holman's research. She using precision instruments such as drums to release stress so that help her to go out the downside. And finally produce the song successfully. This is also a positive feedback. And the story of communication part, we use the method of contrast. The long-term emotional contrast with fans is more important than the short-term conventional gain. And after the self-evaluation, Taylor's actions reflect the good performance and do the large donation, which is also positive feedback model. And as for the last story, we use the method of context for change in the self-evaluation part, which means she starts recording student albums again and create a new environment to reclaim the intellectual property for her own work. And in self-reaction part, she might minimize the loss and do the positive effects of the circle, so that it can continue to adhere the independent creation. And finally, we generalize the 4 models into series independently and evaluate the effectiveness. And this table shows us the strength and weakness, and we can, according to our own needs, to choose the correct model.
Hi, I'm Zhang Xueyi. I'm going to talk about the fourth part, discussing two ways the self-awareness and self-management can be practiced in real life. The first slide is theoretical frameworks. And this slide is quite important for my research because based on this three framework, emotional intelligence model, authentic leadership framework, and mindfulness-based leaderships is emphasized the importance of qualities like self-awareness and self-management, and also provides lots of resources and evidence to approve my research. And I will show you later. Okay, the first way is self-reflection practice method. Individuals may keep separate journal entries, noting their interpretation, feelings, and lessons learned from their experience. And this process of critical reflection prompts us to reevaluate ourselves and make a developing alternatives response strategies. And it can help us better understand our thinking and behavior patterns, transform unconscious behaviors into conscious control to enhance the connections between people. The next way is feedbacks and accountability systems. Someone said that feedback is a gift. Others people see us more objectively than we see ourselves, even those we are unfamiliar with. It emphasizes the importance of feedback systems and how to do it. It consists of three parts: soliciting specific feedback, creating action intentions, and regular progress monitoring. And why does it work so well? The evidence allows us to discover problems that we have never realized before and connect this problem to ourselves to improve the consistency between our intentions and behaviors. Okay, during this process, what are the challenges? For self-reflection, the limitation is cognitive biases in self-assessment. For example, according to the research, people with lower abilities tend to be overconfident in their abilities. And other limitations like insufficient reflection depth, inconsistent practice, and limited perspective taking ability. These ways are easy to understand because when we do our self-reflection reports, we may not critically think ourselves. Okay, for feedback systems, people are often reluctant to provide honest feedbacks, even your friends or families, and people are often reluctant to ask for feedbacks because they fear to access to the honest feedbacks. It shows the vulnerabilities. So how we overcome these difficulties? For self-reflection, like a structural journal, mindfulness practice, and emotional labeling exercise. These are the good ways to know who you are. And for feedback systems, the improvements for people who are stressed by the feedbacks from others, it is more helpful for them to overcome the situation. Okay, in conclusion, leadership therefore is best applied to leadership contexts when accompanied by self-reflections, journals, and feedback systems. And these different approaches can be combined in diverse training plans. Although these approaches have challenges and limitations, I showed you before, they constitute a starting point for translating theory into practice. Developing awareness around these issues and, when necessary, providing targeted supportive interventions to develop the individual's leadership style that lead to better communication and relationship building, like Taylor Swift. Here are our references. Thank you.